Welcome to 2 Cents Worth. I am your host, Ryan DeFaber. Before we get started, please do me a favor. For those of you who enjoy the show, please go to iTunes, Spotify, all the major platforms. Like the podcast, leave a review. That helps us get out to more viewers and listeners. It's extremely helpful. Go on the YouTube, 2 Cents Worth podcast on the YouTube. You can listen to it there as well. And leave a comment, like it. All of that is extremely helpful for us here at 2 Cents Worth. Now, on to the show. Welcome to 2 Cents Worth. I am your host, Ryan DeFaber. Back from a couple weeks. We are back. We have a lineup of podcasts coming out over the next couple of weeks. But the first one that we're going to talk about is mentality change. Changing your mentality for your day, for your week, the way that you go about things. I've been really trying to work on that for myself this year, and also over the last... really more so over the last couple of weeks. As we leave summer, as you guys know, summer's my favorite season. Arguably, I do get seasonal depression with winter. Though here in Charlotte, I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and we were talking about winter in North Carolina, and it really is only, in all honesty, January and February, but it feels like it drags forever. Like even in December, my oldest son, his birthday's in December, and we've had birthday parties for him outside, and it can be high 60s, 70s. So, I feel for those of you that live in colder temperatures with longer winters. I grew up in the Northeast, and it drove me crazy. And I would never go back there because of the shorter days and the fact that I've become accustomed to the warmth and the sun and just the fact that it's not cold. And no snow for majority of the time. My kids hate that, but I don't really care. They want snow, they can move to the Northeast when they get older, or somewhere else, right, that has snow, out west maybe. But, mentality change, and something that I've really been trying to work on for myself is, I think when we talk about having to do something, like, well, I got to get up, I got to go to the gym. Well, no, I think for me, and especially for a lot of us out there, if we start talking different and thinking differently in a more positive manner, our days will be better, our attitude will be better, and our outlook will be better. Just for our life, if you have kids or people around you, friends as well, they'll want to be with you and around you more. So, I now wake up every morning and oh man, I have to go to the gym. I get to go to the gym, right? So there's many people that don't have that opportunity like I have. I get to go to the gym. I get to work on myself and make sure that my body is still strong and able as I continue to get older and creep towards 40 next summer. Send your gifts. I'll take anything. You can Venmo me as well. Whatever you want to send. 40th birthday coming up in 11 months basically. But anyways, I get to go to the gym, right? And I get to go and be the coach of my son's Little League team. I get to take my kids to practice, right? So I think that attitude change of just changing simple words. We talk about this a lot at work, and I've talked to my team about it at work, is when you start changing just a couple of words in conversation, it can lead to a whole different type of conversation, and you can be viewed in a different manner to our customers. So for me then personally, it is also, and for me as my own individual, where, you you can sometimes get caught up in all of the bad in the world, right? And there is bad in the world, but there's much more good in the world. And I told my son that the other day. He was, we unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, let's say that he unfortunately had to see some of the stuff that happened in 9/11 22 years ago, and it was on TV. Football game had ended, and then all of a sudden showed up, and he's 10 going on 11, so he knows of 9/11, but he had never really seen the videos and all of that of what actually transpired that day. And, he was like, why did they do that? What happened to those people? Did those people die? And it's, and I told him, I said, look, man, just like in anything in life, right? There's bad people, but there's more good that outweigh the bad, right? And I tried to attribute it to school. I'm like, the one bully should never outweigh the 10 to 15 friends that you have, or more friends, or whatever. Or the one bad apple in your class of 30 should not outweigh the 29 other kids, right? So the 29 others that are good, there might be one that just misbehaves or is a bully or is seeking attention, and that's how they feel that they need to seek attention. And then in life, you're going to run into tough situations and bad situations, but those outweigh the good. What we see in social media and on the news is the gotcha stories, the quick things, and it's always the negative, the bad. But when we have the idea and we live our lives and we go out in the world and we see there's much more good in the world than there is bad, right? So I'm just trying to work on that mentality change for myself so I don't get caught up in that social media world and the news world and this news cycle of where they trap you into siding with one side or the other and always falling into the negative and trying to get people to argue with each other. But then when you go outside and you live your life and you interact with people, you see that there is a lot more good in the world than there is bad by any means. So that little thing, those small changes and recognition of things, right? And so for me, again, I get to go to the gym. I get to take my kids to practice. From a work perspective, or even start of the week, everyone's like, oh, let's think about back in the day, the movie Office Space. Well, someone's got the case of the Mondays. Monday always has a negative connotation, right? Because you're coming out of the weekend and you have to go back to work. Oh, man, I have to go to work. Well, no, it is, I get to go to work. I get to see what the week has ahead of me, whether it's going to be something I get to learn, if it's going to be something that I fail at that I can then learn from, if it's stuff that I get to succeed at and continue to grow. That's how I've been starting to really start my weeks and look at that as I come out of weekends, instead of going, man, I have to go to work tomorrow. I get to go to work tomorrow. I get to wake up. I get to go to the gym. I get to get my kids to school. I get to have all of these things. And from a work perspective, I get to see what this week has in store for me. And that changes you a little bit more and makes you more excited about what you're going to potentially be up against for work, right? No one likes being in tough situations. Nobody likes failing. But from failure, we do learn. From tough situations, we do learn. And then we can utilize that education that we've gotten into then either knowing how to navigate that situation the next time more effectively, or in the future, helping those that then are in that situation because you've learned from it and you've seen it, you either failed at it before. I find that a lot for myself and my job. So for those of you that just started listening or don't know, I do run a team across the country. It's about 20 people that report to me, and it's more of a lot of the conversations I'm having with them, because they are client facing, they're the representation to the client. I only get involved when it's escalated up to me to where I need to, or if it's an important meeting that I need to be a part of. But for me, it's more now so that I get to take the experiences that I've had over the last 12 years at this company and implement them to my team, and also share my experiences when they go into a situation like that. So again, now for me, from a work perspective, I get to do this for them. And then my boss is teaching me things, and those around me are also teaching me things, whether it's my peers or some of my other partners inside of work that aren't a part of my organization in particular, but still I face off against, I get to learn from them. So I'm really trying to take that approach now. I do feel like it has helped. It does help me just see and have a better day, not only from work, but also from life, right? Like, we're so busy with what you have going on in your lives, whether it's personal, professional, emotional, spiritual, whatever, right? We always are pretty busy, and we look at our calendars, and we are, always like, man, okay, I have this going on, I have this going on, I have this going on. But, and I get caught up in that as well. Like, I'm going to say this to you right now. Just because I'm saying this doesn't mean I'm successful at it all the time, right? I just wanted to talk about it because I've really tried to take this approach over the last couple of months of really just having that mentality change and just approaching things differently and realizing, like, hey, yeah, you're busy. Yeah, you have things going on. Yes, work can be tough. Your life can be tough. Marriage is tough at times. Raising kids is tough at times. Family, whatever. But at the end of all of it, you got to be thankful for these things, and you have to be able to understand that, hey, look, like, I get to be a part of these things. And so, just approaching things that way is important to me, and I'm trying to do that for myself so I can be more successful as a person, so I can be somebody that people want to always be around and be friendly with, and also be a role model to my kids. But again, like, we're busy, right? And we're busy with life, and we have a calendar downstairs in our house, and it shows all the things that we have going on. And if you look at our calendar right now, the boys are back in sports. My oldest has practice twice a week, as well as a game on one of the weekdays. My youngest has practice twice a week. As of now, once the season starts, they'll go basically either one practice or no practices, just depending on how busy their schedule is. But then it becomes 2 games a week, as well as my son's soccer game a week. So then it's like, oh man, well, we're only home only a couple days a week, weeknights. What does that look like for meals? What does it look like for them for their schoolwork? What does it look like for my wife, who has to go into the office, to where I still work at home in my office here? And it's like, stop for a second. I had a friend of mine, Kyle, tell me this a while ago. He just had his first kid, and we were talking about golf, and I was like, I don't get to golf that much anymore because of my, the schedule that we have and my kids. And he said, you know what, dude? And this is what I do appreciate about what he said to me, as he's now going into this experience as well. He's like, look, man, golf's always going to be there. You can play golf till you're 85 years old, but you only get one opportunity to raise your kids and be a part of them from a sports perspective. And that kind of took me back a little bit, and I was like, you know what? Fuck, man, I've been approaching this the wrong way. You're right. Like, there's times to be selfish for yourself, but also, why do I have that thought? Be like, oh, well, I don't get to play as much golf anymore. Fucking who cares, man? Golf's always going to be there. I'm not trying to make it to the tour. If I'm a 12 to 14 handicap, that's just what I am, and that's fine. And I've taken that now and really trying to implement that too, and just going, you know what? I get to go to my kids' practices. I get to coach my kids. I get to go and watch them play these games. These are the things that I get to do, and I'm so appreciative of it, and get to see them grow and become what I hope that they will be, respectable young men that people want to be around, that have a good group of friends, that have a good value base and morals, and have, just a good group around them, from family to friends to, teammates to teachers, etc. And so, I need to do a better job of also implementing that for my marriage as well. Like, I need to, and I've thought about this for a while too, and certainly I've been working on it, but, just like marriage too, like, Lindsay and I get to go out and have dinner together. We get to go to a concert together, or we get to just go on a walk together with the dog and spend some time with each other. That's important as well as it is with my friends. Hey, my friends invite me to go and do something. It shouldn't always be, man, well, I don't really want to. No, but hey, somebody's asking you to go do something. If it can work for your schedule, you get to go do that. And that's exciting, and that's a blessing. And for me, from a spiritual perspective, I pray every night before I go to bed, and I thank God for everything that he gave me for that day. Thank you for my job. Thank you for my kids. Thank you for my wife, my dog, my house. Thank you for the blessings that you give me. And so that mentality change can lead to, for me, and hopefully for you, if you guys start implementing this, or if you have already, I'm sure you do, live a more fulfilling life. There's always going to be negative. There's always going to be bad. There's going to be tough situations. I was talking to somebody that works for me. They were going through a tough time, and I always preface this that I don't know what your beliefs are, but I believe that you are tested in life, but no test is too hard for you to get through. It will never be too hard to get through. And this person got through those tough times, and they've come out, better. And they, thanked me for the support and everything else that I gave them and others around them gave them, that foundation that they have. So again, I'm going to be working on myself and working on making sure that I am living a more fulfilling life. I have a good foundation, whether with my marriage, with my family, with my friends, with my work, and that will hopefully continue to lead to successes and the blessings that I continue to have. So I encourage you to not get caught up in all the bad and look at all the good around you. Embrace the challenges, learn from them, be okay with knowing that you're going to fail. That's one thing that Lindsay and I talk about with ourselves and our son, our oldest son. He's very hard on himself when it comes to school. Like, he wants to get straight A's. And I love that. I love that determination. But at the same time, there are times where I'm like, I almost want him to fail so he learns that he knows that, hey, sometimes when you fail, you actually can grow beyond where you are, and that you can't always win. And that's a hard thing for a kid to learn, but it's a very important thing for a kid to learn. So with all that said, that's today's pod. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys have that mentality change. And if you, just look at things just a little bit different and just changing one word. I have to go somewhere, or I have to do this. Change that have to I get to do this. And see what it does for you mentally, what it does for your outlook of that thing, of what it does for you during the day or even during that event, right? I get to take my kid to practice. Whether you're the coach or not, and you have a child or whatever, and you go and sit and watch that practice, you get to see that, and you get to see your child enjoying that or learning in that experience. I get to take my kid to band practice or whatever it might be, right? I get to take my kid to dance. I get to go on a date with my spouse. I get to go and hang out with my family. I get to have a couple drinks around a fire with my friends. I get to go play golf. I get to take my kids golfing, whatever it might be, right? So from personal, professional, spiritual, all those things, I think you'll benefit from that. I know I've been benefiting more. Again, I'm not perfect. I do fail at this. It's not like I'm a guru in any means by this, but I do feel like I'm living a more fulfilling day every morning, especially, I wake up at 4:15 to go to the gym. I get to go to the gym and work out with my friend and other people that I know in the gym, my other friends that I don't directly work out with, but to get to see them and start my day in a positive manner. So I implore you to do that. I hope this was helpful. As always, leave a comment, give the 5 stars, go on iTunes, Spotify, like it, share it. This is 2 Cents Worth. I am your host, Ryan DeFaber. Have a great day.